Hello, and welcome to another Path video. Here, I'll be going over the 5 units that appear in the Choose a Face exclusive gift dungeon and try to give reasons for choosing each unit. As the name implies, you are able to choose one of these 5 units for free by clearing the specific floor. But thanks to Annie's very questionable votes, you can completely disregard one of these options. I have no idea why the Tendra was voted in, as this unit and its equip have not received any buffs at all. Sure, the equip is still somewhat solid, but this is easily overshadowed by other GFEs like Steed, Arkburza, and Circlia. I'm assuming a sizable amount of people were under the impression that getting this unit would mean receiving 10 free pulls. There were multiple warnings that was not the case. So if you get this unit from the dungeon, you will only get this unit. I guess this bears repeating. Do not choose the Tendra. You do not get any additional pulls. Another option is Enigma. This is a somewhat new GFE, so you might not have a copy yet, especially since the last few Super Catfests haven't been that enticing. And if you're like me, you most likely have been skipping them in favor of third-party collab. I wouldn't say that this is a bad option, but choosing Enigma is still a little bit questionable. As a unit, it's just a rainbow damage stick with a 1-turn cooldown active skill. Its leader skill gives high effective HP and a lot of FUA damage, but having no bonus combos on a leader is not ideal. I really would only get this unit for the equips. All 5 are very solid for damage dealers and have an active skill that could help some units that have transformation conditions, like Ice, Ymir, or Hinata, who all require a set number of orbs on the board. These equips' active skill are not unique, and various other units or equips could help you meet those restrictions. So while this unit doesn't bring much to the table, I could see why some people might choose Enigma for the equips. Now for the new GFEs. These units will give you one of the type enhancement badge. This badge will give units of a certain type a 5x attack multiplier and a 5% recovery and HP buff. First up, Themis. This unit can serve as a strong light combo leader that according to some JP tier lists is on par with Omnimon's power. Themis needs some Gundam 3 units to work, mainly Hyukashiki for his orb generation, cap break, and haste active skill. I'm assuming that we'll get all the new Gundam 3 units, but in the very unlikely event that doesn't happen, then the value of Themis as a leader immediately plummets, as Hyukashiki is very important for Themis teams. Hyukashiki, or whatever the NA name will be, is a mid-rarity unit. Another important Gundam 3 unit is F91, who is exchangeable for other Gundam 3 units. Thus, before choosing Themis, I think you should first venture into that 10 Magic Stone RAM to see if you get lucky enough to get those units or get enough fodder to exchange for F91. Another very popular and hard to replace sub in Themis teams is Tulia. Units like Halloween Paimon and Apocalypse can serve as replacements as they also tackle absorptions and have a haste active skill, but these units do not have the utility of Tulia. Not having Tulia in a Themis team is not the end of the world, but if you care about running the optimal team, check if you have that unit in your monster box. You will have another chance of getting her in an upcoming Super Catfest. That one should happen relatively soon, and at the same time, Gonho will also sell her in a bundle, but just be warned that one will probably cost $50. If you don't want to spend that much money for one sub, you could try your luck in that 10 Magic Stone Super Catfest, which will also have these 3 new GFEs in its lineup. Unfortunately, the pull rate for these new GFEs will only be 1.5%, while Tulia's will be 4%. Since you don't have a high chance of pulling Themis before you pull Tulia, I would probably not choose the free Themis now if you are planning to roll for Tulia in the future, since there's still a chance that you can pull a Themis. Most teams only use one Themis, so a second copy won't have that much value. Some teams do use 2 as leaders, but 2 of her active skill do not really do much, as in a haste system, the cooldown is essentially on 4 turns, for an effect that lasts for 3 turns. Yeah, you do love the HP and RCB buffs, but I don't think that really warrants one slot. I would rather use another Hyukashiki in the team. In a way, you also don't see much benefit, since a single Hyukashiki already loops his cap break. But with another copy, you do get a better board and you can refresh the cap break and self-attack boost, which are commonly interrupted in some newer dungeons. When you obtain Themis, you will also get the Balance Enhancement Badge, which strengthens balance type units and gives a small HP and recovery boost. Some notable leaders that run various balance type units are Themis, some Gundam 3 teams like F91, the Norns, and the upcoming Pat Academy Mei Fang, Haikyuu Nekoma teams, and Conan. Honestly, that's not an impressive lineup, especially if we do not end up getting the Haikyuu and Conan collabs. Since Themis equips aren't particularly that exciting, I would only get Themis if your main goal is to play Themis themes. There was a lot of hype for Themis at the beginning, but her staying power has somewhat faded. Don't get me wrong, she's still very strong, but I would regard F91 as the better light leader, and that team does not need Themis at all. Sure, the team could use the Balance Enhancement Badge, but it could also use the Machine Enhancement Badge instead. The playstyles are a bit different. Themis is more about light combos, and F91 about light rows. So it's up to your preference on which one you would prefer, but I would personally focus on the F91 team. Frigg is a strong wood row leader capable of tackling everything in the game, just like Themis. But if you're missing 2 copies of Eyes, you won't have an easy time since she is the optimal orb generator, piercer, and attribute absorption voider. At least with Themis, you can obtain key subs now or in the near future. The Frigg team is maybe slightly stronger than the regular Ryu Eyes team, so even if you have 2 of the needed Eyes for Frigg, you might not feel too enticed to choose this unit to run as a leader, since the difference in power level is not that drastic. A Frigg team would especially love Karkinos, since he is an optimal sub for the team, but the only way to obtain him right now is in the 20 Magic Stone Super Gadfest. The last optimal sub is Kohaku. She is the best physical cleric that can fit in a Frigg team. If you don't have her already, getting Kohaku will also be pricey since she is a mid-rarity in one of the AG machines. Kohaku is great for Frigg teams due to her hard L, high recovery, and HP buffing active skill that lets you tank huge hits. A Frigg team doesn't have a lot of flexibility, so with only 2 free slots, replacing Karkinos and Kohaku will be pretty difficult. One option to replace Karkinos is Chibi Stella. She is physical type and also adds a lot of bulk and recovery. But if you include this unit, that means that your cleric must be able to recover assist and be on color. Shackle My Melody comes a bit closer to Kohaku, but with only 2 heal OEs, you probably won't be able to heal all that well in super altitude dungeons. That mainly goes for the teams that are running Karkinos, since at least Chibi Stella has a pretty high recovery stat and heal OEs. Another cleric option could be Wendy from the Weekly Shonen collab, but her active skill will interrupt your looping shield. These 2 clerics are also not physical type, but that can be easily solved with the correct equip. The Physical Enhancement Badge has more useful applications than the Balance type badge. Omnimon is still one of the best leads out there, and he and Joe are physical type. Other top leaders, like Bell and Eyes, are also physical types and could benefit from the badge. If we end up getting Haikyuu, then the Kurasuno team can also run this badge since all of the units in the typical team are physical as well. And finally, Karkinos. As I mentioned, this looping shield is commonly used in Frigg teams. He is a bit hard to replace, since this unit is usually the one that helps you recover assist. Outside of Frigg teams, this unit doesn't really have that many places to go. Karkinos doesn't even work as a leader, since the leader skill doesn't give any effective HP. It is the highest egg drop boosting leader skill out there, but if you're running any modern dungeon, you will be required to leader swap. And even for token farming in novice dungeons, his team slot will pretty much be that, since you can't even overcharge him with a button equip. Karkinos equips aren't particularly that interesting. The only reason why you would choose this unit would be to complete your Frigg team, or for the Machine Enhancement Badge. The latter is not a bad reason to get this unit, since a lot of the meta leaders are machine type and could benefit from it. Omnimon and basically every Gundam/AJ unit is machine type. Not only that, but Valentine Noah is also machine type and could definitely use the damage boost in some of the newest dungeons. So, while the unit itself might be collecting dust without Frigg, I would lean more towards exchanging for Karkinos if you have Omnimon, Valentine Noah, and plan to roll a lot in AJ. Nothing is stopping you from turning Omnimon into Balance type via equip and running the Balance Enhancement Badge, but not having to worry about doing that saves you the headache. That's why I mainly focus on units that have native types for these badges. Hopefully this video helped you decide which unit to go for. Like I said, I'll probably go with Karkinos to use the badge with Omnimon, Valentine Noah, and AJ teams. My second option is Frigg, since I do have Eyes to make her team, but I can also use the badge for Omnimon teams, and it might also help if we get the Haikyuu collab. Let me know your choice in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And a special thanks go out to HS1, Breastfeeding Obama, Dark Silencers, Peladerpy, and Lynx for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.